So hi, my name's Roger,
And I'm Doug.
and welcome to this week's edition of the Spandananda Show. So this week was Gandhi's birthday, and Gandhi has had a huge influence on my life, and he's actually the reason why I am on the path of yoga that I'm on. And he influenced the world through his gesture of kindness, his acts of nonviolence, and just his simple and profound way of embodying those things. And so this week's episode is really dedicated to Gandhi and the two powerful things that he has inspired in me. And so the first one, I was at I saw the movie Gandhi at the University of Delaware, and afterwards they had a discussion and they showed not live clips, but real clips from his life. And the moment that Gandhi put his hands together in this prayer pose, which in Sanskrit is called anjali mudra, my life kind of fell apart in the best way. I cried, and I didn't know how to be in the world all of a sudden, because I knew that that's what I wanted in my life. I knew that I wanted this. I wanted this gesture of prayer, of reverence, of honoring, of connecting to my heart and being this person. And at the time, I was 21 years old. At the time, I had no idea what that meant or how that would look or where to go or what to do. I just knew that gesture that he did, I wanted that. And I recognized it, and I felt it in my own body, and I recognized that it was true for some inner part of me. And that led me to my first yoga class, actually, the Seeing Gandhi, which obviously now has, 20 years later, or almost 20 years later, has came into ripening. And the other aspect of Gandhi was his practice of nonviolence, which is actually the very first root principle of yoga. It's called ahimsa, and it's the practice of nonviolence or non-harming. And it's a practice of nonviolence that is about thought, word, and action. And it starts with yourself. It must and has to start with yourself, this practice of nonviolence. And it sounds so obvious, right? But it's also noticing thoughts, noticing when your words are unkind to yourself, that when you've gone out of the present moment and wished things were different, right? It's when you say, I can't do that, or I'm not good enough, or I don't like myself, I'm too fat, I'm too poor, I'm not smart enough. It's the sort of negative banter that we give to ourselves, from which we need to counteract with kindness and compassion. So this week, I'm inviting you to take on the practice of ahimsa. Maybe just for one day, maybe for the next few days, maybe taking it on as a whole week-long practice. Just to simply notice your thoughts. That's all you have to do, to start right there with noticing when you're in a place of negative self-talk. And when you notice the negative thoughts in your head, notice how you're breathing. Notice how your body feels. Right? Notice the feeling state. And then, as a practice, come back to yourself and come back to kindness and love. Right? Not through force and not through anger at yourself for saying something violent, but just through a practice of kindness. And notice how the negative self-talk affects how you feel. It affects the way you interact with the world. It affects your relationships. It affects your perspective. Right? And notice that when you shift your perspective to something kinder, something more compassionate, how it changes your view of yourself and of the world. Right? So thank you for watching this week's episode of the Spandananda Show. See you all next week.